Hey guys, today I'll show you the short recap of a 2012 American epic crime drama movie, The Place Beyond the Pines. The movie begins in 1995 with a protagonist named Luke Glanton, walking towards a stage for a motorcycle stunt show as several people cheer him up. At the end of the show, a young lady named Romina Gutierrez walks towards him as he signs on some young children's books. Luke excuses himself from the kids and goes to meet her. He offers to ride her home, and it becomes known that she is his ex-lover. Luke asks if she will like to go out for a beer, but she informs him she is someone else and leaves. The next night after performing in a show, Luke heads to Romina's house and meets with her mom, who informs him that she is still at work. He asks whose baby it is she is carrying, and she says it's his son. He is surprised to hear this and asks to carry the baby in his arms. He then heads to meet Romina at her workplace and questions her for not informing him about their baby. Romina explains she hadn't heard from him for over a year, and he never thought it fit to call her as well. She further tells him that she has already accepted her fate and living her life by working and taking care of her kid. The next day, Luke goes to meet his manager and tells him he's quitting the stunt show. He heads to meet Romina at home and asks to take their son Jason out. However, she informs him they are on their way out to church, and Luke also gets to see her man named Kofi. Jason gets baptized in the church, and Luke watches from afar. Luke goes out riding in the woods and meets with a man named Robin Vander Hook, an auto mechanic. Luke decides to stick around in town so he can get to spend more time with Romina and Jason, and as a result, he begins working with Robin. Robin shows him an apartment in his yard he can get to stay. Luke asks Robin for more work as he needs more money, but Robin tells him he has nothing of such to offer. However, he informs Luke that he could rob a bank to get the amount of money he desires. He explains that he was successful in it 12 years ago before he stopped when it was getting too hot. Luke disagrees with him and goes to meet Romina as he informs her about his plans to take care of her and Jason. She doesn't agree with him and leaves. This act of hers pushes Luke to go back to Robin and agree to go ahead with the robbery plan. Robin gives him a gun and explains how he's going about the robbery plan. Luke heads to the first bank the next day and successfully gets money out in his bag. He quickly runs away on his bike to meet with Robin, who is waiting for him in a white truck. They are able to escape the police on their first mission, and Robin is happy to see the money Luke was able to get. Luke goes to meet Romina at her workplace, and the next scene shows them both together naked in his apartment and talking about Jason. Luke is able to get more time to spend with Romina and Jason, and he also gets to have someone take a picture of the three of them together. The next day, Luke goes out for a second bank robbery and is successful with it. He then heads to Romina's house to drop some presents for Jason and a crib. Romina returns home with Kofi and gets to see Luke fixing the crib in her room. She gets angry seeing him and tells him to leave. Kofi challenges him for his actions and tells him to take the crib out. Luke gets angry and hits Kofi, who begins to bleed. Romina rushes to meet Kofi and shouts at Luke to leave the house. Luke, however, takes Jason from Romina's mom and tells her to call an ambulance. Luke is then charged to court for his assault and gets bailed out by Robin. He then goes back home to meet with Robin and thanks him for his help. He informs him about his plans to rob 2 banks the next day, but Robin tells him none of such is happening as he quits. Luke goes to meet Romina at night after her work to give her some money for Jason's upkeep. Meanwhile, Robin destroys Luke's bike so as to prevent him from going out to rob a bank. Luke returns to see his bike destroyed and goes to meet Robin with a gun which he puts in his mouth while sleeping. He collects money from Robin to get a new one and leaves. The next day, Luke heads to a bank to rob, and as he leaves, a police detective goes after him. Luke is unlucky this time as the police give him a hot pursuit this time. He falls down while riding on the bike and quickly runs to a nearby house. The police detective named Avery Cross, pursuing him, goes after him and overhears his voice shouting in one of the houses around. Avery sees a woman and a boy coming out of the house, and he tells them to lie flat on the floor. He enters the house and hears Luke talking to someone. Luke phones Romina and tells her not to tell Jason about him. Avery goes into the room and shoots at him, and Luke fires back at his legs before falling out the window. Avery crawls to the window and sees Luke in a pool of blood. The next scene shows Avery waking up on a hospital bed with his dad, wife, and kid around him. Later that day, some men come to see Avery, and he asks about Luke, and they inform him he's dead. They both congratulate him for his effort in catching up with Luke. However, one of the men interrogates Avery about the whole incident, and he lies about Luke shooting him first. While back home, Avery watches the news about Luke and gets to know that he has an infant son. Avery is distressed about the whole incident that has happened, and he goes to see a therapist. The therapist tries to talk to him to say what is troubling him. Avery finally attests to the fact that he has a hard time looking at his son because he feels guilty Luke's son won't be with him any longer. Avery's friends in the police department come to visit, and he welcomes them in to have a meal with his family. They then ask Avery's wife, Jennifer, for her permission to allow Avery to go out with them for small police work. Jennifer is reluctant at first, but Avery agrees to go. They all leave and arrive at Romina's house. Romina and Kofi are shocked to see them, and one of them, Officer DeLuca, informs her they came to search her home for the money Luke stole and might have given her. DeLuca informs Scotty, a fellow police detective, to go upstairs and check for the money. Romina tries to stop them from going there as her baby is sleeping, but DeLuca insists on Scotty going there quietly. Romina cites Avery, and she is disgusted seeing him. Avery goes to meet Scotty and tries to stop him, but he doesn't answer. Scotty tells Avery to pick Jason up, and he finally gets to see the money wrapped in a nylon under his crib. Scotty then goes downstairs and informs the rest that they are clean, and they all leave. While in the car, they all count the money and find out it is about $14,000. DeLuca tells them Avery will take the lion's share, and they cheer him up. The next day, Avery receives an honorary for his accomplishment. In the next scene, Scotty meets with Avery in a restaurant and informs him about he and DeLuca's business with a drug dealer and that they would need his help to get some evidence in the police locker room. Avery is surprised to hear this and goes to get the evidence they asked of him. However, he changes his mind after seeing a picture of Luke, Romina, and Jason in Luke's bag. He then goes to meet with Romina to give her his share of the money they took from her house, but she rebuffs him, tells him to get away from her, and leaves in her car. Avery takes the money to his boss, who rejects the money and tells him he shouldn't bring such a case to his table. Avery then takes the money and goes to put it in Luke's bag in the evidence room. While leaving the station, Avery sees DeLuca and his boss together, and he gets to know that they are all involved in the corrupt business. DeLuca stops Avery on the road and tells him to follow as he would like to see him. Upon getting to a destination, Avery feels suspicious of something bad about to happen, and he brings out his gun and quickly reverses back and zooms off. Avery heads to his father's house and informs him about everything. His father tells him about a plan, and he goes ahead to do it. Avery meets with Scotty and records his conversation about what they want him to do, and goes ahead to show it to the district attorney. Avery uses the recording to his favor to attain a position as an assistant district attorney. The district attorney is reluctant to agree to this but later agrees after Avery stresses that he will reveal it to the public. The next scene shows all the officers involved in the criminal activity being arrested and taken to jail. 15 years later, now 2012, Avery hosted a burial ceremony for his father and gave a speech. Jennifer meets with him as he is about to leave and informs him his son AJ has been asking to come to live with him. However, Avery tells her it's not the right time yet as he is still very busy with his campaign for Attorney General. AJ finally moves in with Avery, as he has long been staying with Jennifer since she divorced Avery. He begins schooling in a new high school and meets with Jason, who is now a full-grown teenager. They quickly form a bond together, and both go out smoking to get high. They then discuss after about their family, and Jason tells him his real dad died in a car accident. It becomes quite obvious that they aren't aware of their father's past. Late at night, they both set out and are arrested by the police for drug possession. Avery learns about it and gets AJ out of the station. He also gets to find out that the second guy is Jason, Luke's son. He goes to meet AJ and warns him that he doesn't want to see him around Jason any longer. Jason is charged to court, but he is released on bail as Avery had helped in dropping his case to a misdemeanor. The next scene shows Jason arriving at school and AJ watching him from afar. AJ meets with him, and Jason apologizes for the previous night they got arrested. AJ talks about Jason's father, and this annoys him. While at home having dinner, Jason asks Jennifer about his dad, but she is surprised to hear it and leaves. Kofi tells Jason about his father, and he goes on the internet to search about him. Jason gets to know about everything and goes to visit Robin, who is surprised to see him. Robin welcomes him and tells him more information about Luke and the robberies they were both involved in. Jason heads back to school, and AJ comes to meet him. He apologizes for the previous time and invites him to a party at his house. He then tells him to bring an oxy drug while coming. Late at night, Jason sneaks out of his home and heads to a pharmaceutical store to steal the oxy drugs. The store owner goes after him but can't catch up with him. Jason arrives at AJ's house, and he is happy to see him as he hands over the drug to him. While having a nice time with a lady, Jason gets to see the picture of the cop who killed his father and gets to know it's AJ's father. He angrily goes to meet AJ, who isn't happy with his attitude and pushes him out of his house, and punches him till he bleeds. Jason wakes up in a hospital bed with Jennifer beside him. As soon as they are about to leave, Jennifer goes to get her car but doesn't get to see him around when she returns. Jason goes to meet with someone and asks him for a gun. He then heads to Cross's home and assaults AJ before directing Avery with a gun in his possession to drive them both to the woods. On arriving there, he asks for Avery's wallet and then tells him to kneel down. Avery does as he asks and begins to weep as he pleads for his forgiveness. Jason, however, doesn't do anything to him and runs away. He opens the wallet and gets to see an old picture of his father, Luke, and mother along with him. Avery arrives home and gets to see AJ is doing just fine. The next scene shows Avery being introduced to an audience as the new Attorney General of New York, with everyone, including AJ, celebrating him. The movie ends with Jennifer receiving a mail of an old pic of her with Luke and Jason. Jason also secures a new bike and is seen riding away. So that is it for today, folks. Hope you had an awesome day, and do not forget to cheer people around you. If you like the video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for daily content like this.